All right, Stoicism for girls. Part of my interest in Stoicism has been in being able to hold contradictions. Like my thoughts are always moving and shifting, and sometimes I can think one thing about something. Like, for example, Stoicism. I think it's gotten overhyped. I think there are other philosophies that are just as worthy of hype, if not more. But I also can see the value in Stoicism. That's just one example. And then there are things in here, like his meditations, there can always be found fault. And if you're looking for the fault, you'll find it and you'll find a way to like nitpick around. And he talks about this in the book. And this is one I think people would do. The first step, don't be anxious. Nature controls it all. And before long, you'll be no one, nowhere. Second step, concentrate on what you have to do. Fix your eyes on it. Remind yourself that your task is to be a good human being. Remind yourself what nature demands of people, then do it without hesitation and speak the truth as you see it, but with kindness, with humility, without hypocrisy. It's basically like a 1-2 simple step. And people are like, but the chemicals in my brain, but you don't understand. My life is uniquely I'm actually unique, and my life is actually uniquely anxiety inducing. This really isn't saying like there aren't things that you can be anxious about. Like there are things that could cause anxiety. He's saying the anxiety itself is futile if you just think one next step. Okay, what's the next step? What can I do next? Like, and not even like what am I gonna do next? Big picture. Like not even what am I gonna do tomorrow? What am I gonna do next year? Not even any of that. What am I gonna do right now? I'm gonna take a sip of my kombucha. I'm gonna read the next meditation. I'm gonna take a bath. You're only thinking one step at a time, and there are times where you have to sit down, lock in, think big picture of like, okay, where do I kind of want my life to go? Am I shifting that way? But then not freaking yourself out about it and being like, I'm not there yet. No, just take the next step to get to where you want to go, right? Like I'm making this video. That's the next step. How many people are gonna watch it? I don't know. If anyone's gonna watch it, I don't know. Is it gonna blow up? I don't know. That'd be cool. But I don't know. All I can do is just make the video and just go. Like I'm not like, am I gonna have this many subscribers? What's the point of that? Genuinely. So yeah, this first little section, get up, girl, because I think yeah, we need to get up. And at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do. Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm, but it's nicer here. So you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them. Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants, the spiders, the bees all going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? But we have to sleep sometime, agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking, and you're over the limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There, you're still below the quota. You don't love yourself enough. Or you love your nature too and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than the engraver does for engraving, the dancer for the dance, the miser for money, or the social climber for status? When they're really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up the practice of their arts. Is helping others less valuable to do? Not worth your effort? This is anti-rotting. Okay, I hate the concept of rotting. I've actually even been given that advice, like prescriptively, from people in my life of just like, you're doing too much, you're stressed, you need to just rot. You need to just rot. And I get why they were saying that because in those moments usually I was kind of spiraling, maybe thinking too much. But rotting? No. I can't think of something I want to do less than just sit and be mindless. I used to smoke a lot of weed. And the reason I did was just to like turn off my brain and then like mouth breathe as I scroll on TikTok. I literally cannot think of something worse for people. Like pick up a book. Pick up a book. Read a book. Anything. And even your smut romantasy, that's better than rotting, like telling, and even like saying that to yourself, like that creates such a weird mindset of like, I'm just gonna sit here and rot. Ew. Sorry, ew. Ew. So yeah, get up, girl. Do what you're meant to do. And some people are like, I was just meant to like lay down and eat grapes and like be outside. And like, yes, like we are meant to be outside, but like there has never been a time in history where we weren't working. And it's not because of capitalism that we like to work. Right, like I make these videos. I like post on Instagram. I do that. None of that makes me any money, and it takes up a lot of time. At least right now, it doesn't make me any money. Hopefully later it will, but right now it makes me zero money, and I like to do it, and it's work. It's 100% work, and I feel so much more fulfilled in making and creating than I do just consuming TikTok, shitty reality TV. Don't even get me started on people that sit for 7 hours on a Sunday and just sit in front of the TV and watch sports. You're cucking yourself. As a man, you're instead of like getting out and doing something like meaningful for yourself, you're gonna just sit on the couch and watch other men run around for 7 hours on your one of 2 days off. Okay, okay, it's your life. It's your life. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you, inside or out. This is kind of like the anti-victim thing. People are like, he did this to me. He ruined my life. Get a grip. Get up. Get up. We all have terrible things happen to us in life. We also have great things happen to us in life. You're not like, God, why would you give me this much money? So don't do the same thing when God sends you something terrible, okay? You're like, but why me? I try to be a good person. Why me? Because terrible things happen to everyone. You are not special for it. There's nothing special about getting shit on by life. Like it happens to everyone, and like you can like talk about it and be a little sad for a couple days, maybe even a couple weeks, and then you gotta get up because the only thing that can ruin you as a person is yourself. Whatever somebody does to you, you're like my villain arc. No, you're doing that. You're the villain, right? Like you're creating that because you're creating all kinds of like nonsense in your head about what you are because somebody did something to you that you're like I'm gonna be a villain now. No, like I'm gonna be a villain because of this person. No, you're gonna be a villain because you want to be a villain. And so nothing can actually hurt you unless you allow it to hurt you. And this is how I feel in relationships as well. Everything is a two-way street. Everything, okay? Everything. Because ultimately, right? And I used to say like, well, I'm like, what if a man cheats on you? Then that's his fault. Or like if a man abuses you, that's his fault. And it is. It's a two-way street. You chose to be with him. Because I know that by the time he's hitting you, that ain't the first thing you saw. That wasn't the first red flag, right? Like you saw other red flags before and you said, but that's my man. That's mine. That's mine. I'm gonna stick by him. Nothing can hurt you, inside or out. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Your character. You are not defined by the terrible things that happen to you, by a man abusing you or whatever, or any of those things. That doesn't ruin you unless you let it change who you are and you have your villain arc, right? And then you become a villain. You are meant to be and you are meant to do. You need to have both. When you're like overworking yourself and you're like freaking out, like, yeah, don't do that. People were like, you're not working hard enough, but you're already working hard. Hey, doesn't apply to you. Like it's really that simple, but people can't figure it out. Or where it's like, you need to rest more. You need to take time for you. If you're already like lazy, like hanging around, hey, that one wasn't for you. That one wasn't for you. And that's what I like about this book. Is like you can read all the meditations and you can go, yeah, this seems relevant to him because like he was writing it down, and this is probably relevant to somebody, not for me. Next little section is you gotta do you, girl. To welcome with affection what is sent by fate, not to stain or disturb the spirit within him with a mess of false beliefs, instead to preserve it faithfully by calmly obeying God, saying nothing untrue, doing nothing unjust. And if others don't acknowledge it, this life lived with simplicity, humility, cheerfulness, he doesn't resent them for it, and isn't deterred from following the road where it leads to the end of life, an end to be approached in purity and serenity and acceptance and peaceful unity with what must be. Okay, basically saying like don't impose your shit on other people. Like you can try a little bit and be like, hey girl, like if you see someone, you should help them. But if they don't want your help, they don't want your help. And but that doesn't mean, but just because they disagree doesn't mean that it should deter you from doing what you got to do. And going, okay, well this is what I'm doing, so be there, be square. You can get with the program, or you can go, or you can say like, I'm gonna help you get with the program, Or you can say, like, okay, it's fine that you're not getting with the program, but I have to stay with my program. Because especially women, notice this with some of my women friends, they don't want you to be better than them. And if you are treating yourself better, it sometimes can put the pressure on them to treat themselves better. It makes them uncomfortable, so they'll tell you, no, you're perfect, you don't have to do this, you don't have to change, you don't have to improve, like, let's just keep smoking weed together and eating like garbage. Like, let's just keep doing that together. But you have to say, like, look, I know you want to do that, your life, your prerogative, you gotta do you, girl. But I gotta do me, girl. And I want to eat a salad, and I don't smoke anymore, and I don't drink anymore. And if that ruins your friendship, if that breaks the friendship, if those were the things holding a friendship together, it's a pretty weak friendship anyway. So if an action or utterance is appropriate, then it's appropriate for you. Don't be put off by other people's comments and criticism. If it's right to say or do it, then it's the right thing for you to do or say. The others obey their own lead, follow their own impulses. Don't be distracted, keep walking, follow your own nature, follow nature along the road they share. This I think about like family and how your family can sometimes impose what they think you should be on them. Like, you should do this, you should be a lawyer, you should go back to school, you should try to get a new job, you're not making enough money, da 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 da. All these things. You shouldn't date this person. Sometimes they know. But ultimately, the choice is up to you. And if they're not respecting that, you got to put some distance there. Ultimately, it's just heeding your own development because sometimes you do just have to learn those lessons. Like we talked about that with Siddhartha. Like he said like, he needed to just go on this journey and learn these lessons. And then he's like, why isn't my son perfect? And his friend's like, well, your son didn't learn the lessons. He's like, but he should just listen because I already learned them for him. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You got to learn the lesson yourself to gain the wisdom yourself. And even so you know, and you know if an action or utterance is appropriate, then it's appropriate for you. You know that. You know what needs to be done, what needs to be said. But there are other outside forces that will try to tell you what you should do, shouldn't do, should do, shouldn't say, should say. All of that. You got to just learn to let it roll off your back and let it go. Men, women, parents, friends. And this is a hard lesson because especially women, like, we want to be in the in group. A thing, right? Where men will be like, I've had the same friend since I was a toddler. And like, you could know this friend group and be like, he's a piece of shit. Why are you still friends with them? And they're like, I don't know. We're just still friends. Like, we're just buddies. Like, he fucked up some things, but we're still friends. Women don't do that. You have to be a part of the in group to be accepted. I experienced this recently when I've had to like police my own speech with friends, and then that's how I know that things are kind of going downhill because I'm afraid to say what I think is true for fear of not even being exiled. Like being exiled is fine. If somebody doesn't want to be my friend, that's fine. But being then not even just gotten rid of, but having someone try and tarnish my reputation because they have a belief. They twist my words or twist my thoughts because they have their own personal belief, personal agenda. You know when something is appropriate and you know who to say it in front of and what to do. And then you ultimately have to make the choice for yourself of like, am I willing to just keep quiet on stuff that I know to be true, that I understand to be true, or do I just have to walk away? Look at who they really are, the people whose approval you long for, and what their minds are really like. Then you won't blame the ones who make mistakes they can't help, and you won't feel a need for their approval. You will have seen the sources of both their judgments and their actions. Yeah, this is huge. This is huge. This is huge with dating advice, okay? If you're looking around and you're confused, you're asking people for advice, but they aren't living the life that you want to live, why the hell would you take their advice? Your friend has notoriously never had a very good relationship, good, stable relationship. Me. Why would you take their advice, my advice? If your parents are divorced and adulterers or doing things you wouldn't approve of or you wouldn't do, why would you take their advice about who you should date? Yeah, you could know their mind and who they are. That like somebody has a good head on their shoulders, and whatever happened in their past happened in their past, but they can still give good advice. But there are also people like you can know what their mind is and go, yeah, that ain't like mine. That ain't like mine. So why would I take that advice? Or like not even it's not just like mine. It's just like it's their way of thinking is on a different level than where I am. And so it doesn't make sense to take their advice. This next little section, boo-hoo girl. No one could ever accuse you of being quick-witted. There are plenty of other things you can't claim you haven't got in you. Practice the virtues you can show. Honesty, gravity, endurance, austerity, resignation, abstinence, patience, sincerity, moderation, seriousness, high-mindedness. Don't you see how much you have to offer beyond excuses like can't? And yet you still settle for less. Or is it some inborn condition that makes you whiny and grasping and obsequious, makes you complain about your body and curry favor and show off, and leaves you so turbulent inside? No, you could have broken free a long way back, and then you would have only been a little slow, not so quick on the uptake. And you need to work on that as well, that slowness. Not something to be ignored, let alone to prize. That slowness. Basically saying like there's no point to focus on what you don't have. Like you can improve on things that you think would make your life better that you're not very good at, like sure. But to like whine about it, oh my god, this pissed me off. Somebody the other day I was talking to was like, we were talking about theology, and I was like, yeah, I'm reading this book about Jesus, and I'm reading this other book about Muhammad and all of that. And he was like, oh, I wish I knew more about Christianity. He's a Christian. I wish I knew more about it. I said, there's no point to wish for something that you can actively do. He's like, you know what I mean. I was like, I don't. I don't know what you mean because if it's literally in your hands, then what, like, why would you say, I wish I could be this way? Like, just be that way. And if you're not that way, focus on the things that you are because there are strengths in who you are. Not everybody can be a stand up comedian. Sometimes we need a philosopher. You are. And that's great. So instead of whining about what you're not, just be who you are. Your beauty doesn't need anybody's praise. Like, you can want that from somebody and, like, kind of require that from somebody you love, but it doesn't need it. Like, it doesn't change what you are, how anybody's subjective experience is of you. It only really matters what you think of you. And if you walk around thinking, I'm ugly, I'm so ugly, yeah, you're probably going to look a little ugly, so you're going to be making an ugly face. You're not going to take care of yourself. If you like walking around, you're like, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly. But if you walk around and you're like, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, and nobody can tell me otherwise, then that's what you are. You don't need somebody else to tell you. Well-being is good luck, or it's good character. And there's only one you can work on. You can't work really on being lucky, but you can work on being like a better version of yourself. And people are like, like that's what people are like, Nepo baby. Like, okay, lucky them. They're lucky. That's so nice. They're lucky. I'm not a Nepo baby, okay? So I actually do have to just be a good actor if I want to go do that. And that's unfortunate, but not really. It's just what it is. Next lesson. You don't have to be perfect, girl. You don't have to. Not to feel exasperated or defeated or despondent because your days aren't packed with wise and moral actions, but to get back up when you fail, to celebrate behaving like a human, however imperfectly, and fully embrace the pursuit that you've embarked on. Philosophy requires only what your nature already demands. What you've been after is something else again, something unnatural. Perfection. What could be preferable? That's how pleasure traps us. Girl, like you're not gonna be perfect. You're not perfect. Newsflash, you're not perfect. Mean girl aesthetics. Oh. And some of them really like they look great. But even then I'm like, you still shit. You still get in car accidents. You still have daddy paying for your apartment. You still like some we all have a little something. Probably a couple more than a little something. And that's okay. That's kind of okay because we all have it. None of us are perfect. All of us are born imperfect. In fact, this has been like a debate with my family. We've been talking about sin and if we're born with sin, and they're like, "How could you look at a baby and think it's a sinner?" And it's like, I don't think that it's committing sins, but I think But it's like you look at a baby and you go, you're not gonna be perfect. I love you. You're perfect to me. You're my baby, but you're not perfect. You're not going to be. And I feel like that expectation actually sets children up for better because when they fuck up, you're not like shocked. You're like, yeah, I was expecting this. Yeah, makes sense. It says, yes, keep on degrading yourself, soul, but soon your chance at dignity will be gone. Everyone gets one life, yours is almost used up. And instead of treating yourself with respect, you have entrusted your own happiness to the soul of others. I like this one, it's a little sarcastic. He said, yes, keep on degrading yourself, soul, yes. He's kind of sassy. But yeah, if you keep, yeah, just keep shitting on yourself. That's gonna make it better. That's gonna make everyone respect you more if you just keep shitting on yourself. You're gonna feel really good if you just keep shitting on yourself. Hey, remember that. Just keep shitting on yourself. It's gonna feel really great. Instead of treating yourself with respect, you've entrusted your own happiness to the soul of others. So this one's a real one for me. Okay, is my intellect up to this? If so, then I'll put it to work like a tool provided by nature. And if it isn't, then I'll turn the job over to someone who can do better, unless I have no choice. Or I do the best I can with it and collaborate with whoever can make use of it to do what the community needs done. Because whatever I do, alone or with others, can aim at one thing only: what squares up with those requirements. What needs done, okay? And I've felt this way recently. I'm like, am I even smart enough to be talking about philosophy on YouTube? To be talking about yoga on YouTube? Even though I'm a yoga teacher. Am I even smart enough to like be a yoga teacher? I'm like, and I read philosophy. Am I even smart enough to talk about it? Other people are smarter. Other people have a PhD in it. What? I'm not good enough. I should just let them do it. But I can see the hole in philosophy that needs filled. It really is only men who do it. I don't see that many women talk about it and how it applies because there's a lot of men philosophers, and that's fine. But a lot of the advice is toward men. But I need some of this advice. And I know other women do too. I know other women need to learn these lessons as well because there are nuggets of truth that are applicable to women as well. Not all of it. And that's fine because men and women are different. And I'm here with you on that. I'm with that. But there are things that I need to know. And it felt like for a long time I was just watching a lot of these men discussing things, giving advice, and it was like more advice for men and not so much for women. So I'm trying to learn and give things that are applicable to women as well. Get a grip, girl. Get a grip, girl. How cruel to forbid people to want what they think is good for them. And yet, that's just what you won't let them do when you get angry at their misbehavior. They're drawn toward what they think is good for them, but it's not good for them. Then show them that. Prove it to them instead of losing your temper. Okay? I've been doing, assuming good intent, right? Most people aren't like, I'm gonna fuck up my life. I'm gonna destroy it by doing these things to myself. Most people are not, they're not doing that. They're not in full self-destruct mode, at least not consciously. And so you can say, don't do that. This is why, and I'm gonna give you all the things and all that. On toward what they think is good for them. If you want them to be drawn toward something else, you need to show that that other thing is better for them in whatever way that needs to be. Because, yeah, it's cruel. People think it's good for them to do something like smoke a lot of weed. They're like, this is good for me. It helps my anxiety. It helps me to eat because I really struggle with eating. It helps me relax. It helps my pain. La, 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 la. And so if you go, I'm gonna take that away, that's cruel. That's cruel. And you're like, I want to point my finger at you, little boy, little girl, like you're a toddler. They think it's good for them. And sometimes they can't be shown. And maybe actually just because it's good, it's not good for you, maybe it is good for them. And sometimes you just have to accept that. You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Things can't shape our decisions by themselves. Yeah, I hate this thing of like, they did this to me and I just lost it. I just lost control. There was a choice there. There's a lot of choices there. Okay, even like by the time we get to losing control, there were many choices made that got you to that point. And yeah, you don't have to turn this into something. Not everything has to become a something. It's like the bean soup of it all, right? Like people are like, this is my bean soup recipe. People in the comments, well, this is actually really hurtful to me because I can't eat beans, and this is actually really ableist. Or whatever it is, whatever ridiculous thing it is. Turning things into something it's not. Instead of assuming good intent, listening to the thought, and then if you disagree, you can go, I disagree. I just disagree. Like it doesn't have to like ruin your day. And I think people could conflate like other people's thoughts and threat. They're like, this is a threat. This is a threat to my life that somebody else has a thought that I disagree with. It's actually a threat to my life and to other people's lives that somebody disagrees that gay people shouldn't get married. This is a threat to my life. You still can. You still can. Like, there's a law about it. You still can do it. But they're like, but if other people think that way, then the law could get revoked. Revoked. But look, but as a collective, if everybody. This isn't necessary. This isn't about gay marriage. This isn't about any of that. This is like, you don't have to turn other people's thoughts into a it's not a life-threatening situation unless it's a life-threatening situation. Somebody saying something you disagree with on TikTok is not a life-threatening situation. I don't care what it is. Like I actually I can't think of something that I think would be. Everything is here for a purpose. From horses to vine shoots. What's surprising about that? Even the sun will tell you, I have a purpose. And the other gods as well. And why were you born? For pleasure? See if that answer will stand up to questioning. This kind of goes back to like the get up girl. Like, you think you're here just to like la la? Like, yes, like you should do some of that. But no, like we're here for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. You have one. You gotta find it. You gotta find what it is. You have to. That's like I saw Marty Supreme the other day. So good. And like you see like the character of Marty and the character of Kay, they're foils of each other. Because we have Marty, who is like, I'm going after what I want. Ultimate ambition to the extreme. I found what I need to do and I'm doing it and I'm making it happen. And it was so good because he's like anyway, I'm not gonna nerd out on this. I'm gonna go after what I want and I'm gonna do it. Okay? You get Kay. Kay, like, she knows what she loves to do. She loves being an actress. But then she found a way that's easier to live and is super depressed because she doesn't get to be an actress and doesn't get to be what she wants to be. And she just took this life of pleasure and is like married to a boring ass millionaire guy that doesn't really let her do what she wants to do. And then by the time she does get to do what she wants to do, she's on Broadway. She's terrible. She's awful because she didn't have to work at it. She didn't have to do anything to get there. She was just given it by her millionaire husband, and she was awful at it because she just didn't have to do it. So yeah, she just sat around and was like being an accessory for years on end, and then expected to like hit Broadway and kill it. So yeah, why were you born? For pleasure? Like no, like and it's even like her living in luxury, living in pleasure. She was not pleasured. She was not in pleasure. The pleasure, but then you see. I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but you see what hard work and the release and the catharsis that comes with hard work. That's pleasure. But then you got to keep moving. Pleasure doesn't last forever, just like everything. Finally, my little bonus is do less. It says if you seek tranquility, do less. Or more accurately, do what's essential, what the logos of a social being requires, and in the requisite way, which brings a double satisfaction to do less better. Because most of what we do and say is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time, more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? Is it necessary to do what you're doing? Then do it. If it's not, do less. You don't have to do it. Give yourself permission. You don't have to do it. Isn't that nice? If it's not necessary, you don't have to do it. Wash yourself clean with simplicity, with humility, with indifference to everything but right and wrong. Care for other human beings. Follow God. It's simple. It's back to the one step in front of the other. Okay, one step and then the next. With simplicity, humility, and indifference to everything but right and wrong. Allows you to do less. Sit back and go, not my circus, not my monkeys. You go, those are my circus, those are my monkeys, let me handle this, and then I'll sit back. I don't have to ruinate, I don't have to freak, and just wash myself clean. And I think that's beautiful. Doing more isn't always better. And I think women need to hear that. I think men need to hear that, but I think women need to hear that more. Because I was doing too much of unnecessary things. It was like, no, let me just step back, streamline this, do the important. Gotta get up, girl. Get your ass up and work. You gotta do you, girl. It's your life. Boo-hoo, girl. It's freaking life. It's life. That's life. That's life, to sum it up. And you don't have to be perfect, girl. It's not always gonna come your way. Like, things aren't always gonna be perfect. Get a grip, girl. You have things to do. And you have to not let other people and their thoughts and their opinions sway you in the wind. You got to be solid. And you have to be able to see someone else who disagrees or thinks differently and go, I disagree. It's really like, it's that simple. Like when you're scrolling and you see something that you disagree with. And then you don't even have to remember it. You don't remember half the things you watch if you're on Reels or whatever anyway. So you might as well just, no need to comment. Okay. And then do less. Do more of what you love. Do the things you need to do. Don't do the things you don't. Anyway, that's my video for this week. I would read a book. Read this book. It's a good one. Again, you're not going to take all of it, especially this translation. I've only read this translation, but everyone's like, this is the best one. It's the Gregory Hayes translation. And yeah, it's helpful. It's got some helpful reminders. And it's not like the watered down version that you're getting from other sources. Like, just go straight to the source. It's not a hard read at all. I mean, you heard me reading it. It's not a hard read. You don't need somebody watering it down for you to know about Stoicism. Just pick up the book. It's not even long. Like, it's not even a long book. Anyway, have a beautiful week.